You see, most people have this completely backward idea about success. They think it's all about feeling inspired, about having that fire inside you every single day. They watch a motivational video, get hyped for 10 minutes, and convince themselves that this time they're finally going to change their lives. But 2 days later, that fire's gone, the same excuses come back. The same laziness creeps in, the same comfort zone calls them home, and they answer. That's why most people never win. Iman Gadzhi made me realize something brutal but true. Motivation is cheap. It's an emotion, and emotions are temporary. They fade the moment things get uncomfortable. You can't build an empire on emotions. You build it on discipline, on doing what you said you'd do, long after the feeling has left you. That's the difference between people who dream and people who actually do. When I first heard a man say, "You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your standards," it hit me like a punch to the gut. I've been setting big goals my whole life, big dreams, big visions, big words, but my standards were trash. I'd say I wanted to be successful, yet I was sleeping in, procrastinating, scrolling endlessly, doing the bare minimum. A man showed me that if you want to win, you can't live like the average person. Your standards have to be uncomfortable. Discipline isn't glamorous, it's not exciting. It's the boring, repetitive stuff that no one sees, but that's where greatness is built. It's waking up before sunrise when every cell in your body wants to stay in bed. It's sitting at your desk when your brain screams to check your phone. It's saying no to parties, no to distractions, no to short-term pleasure because you're playing the long-term game. That's the truth people don't want to hear. Success isn't found in a spark of motivation. It's forged in the grind of consistency. I used to think discipline was restrictive, like it would take away my freedom, but the irony is, it's the exact opposite. Discipline creates freedom. When you have discipline, you control your time instead of letting your time control you. You start making decisions that serve your goals instead of your impulses. A man often says, structure equals freedom, and it's so true. The more disciplined you become, the more power you have over your life. Let me give you an example. When a man built his first agency, he didn't have it all figured out. He wasn't sitting around waiting for inspiration to strike. He just acted. He learned, executed, failed, and repeated day after day. That's discipline. He didn't let his emotions dictate his actions. He built habits so strong that they overpowered how he felt. That's what separates entrepreneurs from daydreamers: consistency without emotion. And that's what I had to learn. I stopped waiting for motivation. I stopped searching for the perfect moment. Because there is no perfect moment. There's only now. Every time I didn't feel like doing something, I reminded myself that feelings are irrelevant. The world doesn't care if you're tired, sad, or unmotivated. The only thing that matters is, did you do the work or not? That's the cold truth, and Iman's message made me face it. The more disciplined I became, the more I respected myself. It's funny how that works. Confidence doesn't come from affirmations or hype. It comes from evidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build proof that you can be trusted, and every time you break one, you destroy that trust. Discipline rebuilds that relationship with yourself. It makes you powerful because you know that no matter what happens, you'll show up. Iman's philosophy made me understand that success isn't about the highs, it's about surviving the lows. Anyone can work hard when they're excited, but what about when things get boring, when no one's watching? When the results aren't showing yet, that's when your character is tested. Motivation dies in those moments, but discipline thrives there. It doesn't care how you feel, it only knows one direction forward. Most people think they need motivation to start, but it's actually the other way around. You start, and then motivation shows up later. Action breeds motivation, not the other way around. The problem is people sit around waiting for the feeling before they move. Winners move first. They act without permission. That's what a man taught me: stop romanticizing success and start treating it like a duty. Discipline is doing what's necessary even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable, because growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from friction. The gym doesn't build muscle because it feels good. It builds muscle because it tears fibers apart so they can grow stronger. Life works the same way. Every time you choose discipline, you're strengthening your mind, your habits, your identity. And let's be real, being average is easy. It requires nothing. But being exceptional demands discipline. It demands that you become the kind of person who can handle discomfort, delay gratification, and stay consistent even when it's hard. That's the price of greatness. And once you accept that, life becomes simple, not easy, but simple. Because you stop negotiating with yourself, you stop questioning if you should do the work, you just do it. Iman Gadzhi, I didn't just talk about this, he lived it. That's why his message hits so hard. Because when you watch someone who practices what they preach, it exposes your own excuses. It forces you to look in the mirror and ask, am I really doing everything I can? That's where change begins, when you get honest with yourself. So yeah, motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going when everyone else quits. Motivation fades, discipline compounds, and once you master that, you stop chasing success because success starts chasing you. There was a time when I thought success meant being seen. I wanted people to notice me. I wanted the recognition, the validation, the approval, the external signs that I was making it. But Iman Gadzhi shattered that illusion for me. He made me realize that the world doesn't pay you for how many followers you have. It doesn't reward you for being liked, for being known, or for pretending to be someone you're not. The world rewards you for the value you bring, and that value comes from skills. In today's world, most people are chasing status. They care more about looking successful than actually being successful. They'll spend their money on clothes, watches, and cars before they spend $1 on learning something useful. They'll curate their social media to look impressive, but have nothing of substance behind the image. Iman calls it the disease of vanity. It's when you care more about how you appear than what you can actually do. And the problem with that mindset is that it's fragile, because status can be taken away in a second, but skill stays. When you build real skills, you're untouchable. No economy can destroy your value. No algorithm can silence you. No employer can replace you easily. Skill makes you independent, and that's what a man always preaches: independence. He never built his brand around looking rich. He built it around being competent, around mastering marketing, sales, communication, leadership, the things that actually move the needle. I remember him saying once, "You're only as valuable as the problems you can solve." That sentence changed everything for me. Because I realized life doesn't reward effort, it rewards impact. You can work hard all day, but if what you're doing doesn't produce results, it's just motion without meaning. Skills are what make your effort valuable. When you're skilled, your time becomes worth more, your confidence grows, and opportunities start finding you. I started looking at my own life differently. Instead of asking, how can I look more successful, I began asking, what can I learn that will make me more useful? That one shift changed my entire trajectory. I stopped comparing myself to others. I stopped wasting time chasing attention. I started investing in knowledge marketing courses, communication, business systems, human psychology. I began practicing the skills that build real freedom, and that's what a man embodies. He doesn't chase clout, he chases competence. You see, there's something powerful about being so good at what you do that people can't ignore you. You don't have to beg for attention, you attract it naturally. That's the difference between influence built on status and influence built on substance. Status fades the moment trends shift, but substance lasts decades. A man always says, be the person who can build something from scratch. Because if you can build once, you can build again. That's the power of skill. I've seen so many people lose themselves trying to maintain an image. They'll do anything to look successful, rent cars, fake lifestyles, chase temporary hype, but deep down, they're insecure because they know it's all smoke. You can't fake real ability. You can't Photoshop skill. And Iman exposed that truth so clearly. Watching him, I realized that real confidence doesn't come from status symbols. It comes from mastery, from knowing you can deliver results in the real world. That's why people respect a man, not because of what he owns, but because of what he knows. He understands the game of business. He knows how to create systems, lead people, and produce outcomes, and that kind of power can't be bought. It has to be earned. Skill is earned through failure, repetition, obsession, and time. It's not glamorous and it's not easy, but it's real. I started treating skill, building like a game. Every day I asked myself, what am I better at today than I was yesterday? Because if you're not improving, you're decaying. The world moves fast, industries change, algorithms shift, but skills are adaptable. When you build core abilities like communication, leadership, and problem solving, you can thrive anywhere. You become your own economy. That's what a man means when he talks about true freedom, not being at the mercy of external systems because you've built internal power. And here's the truth: building skills is lonely. It's quiet work. No one claps for you when you're learning. No one notices when you're practicing. But that's the stage where transformation happens. Everyone wants the recognition that comes with success, but very few want the repetition that builds it. A man didn't become who he is because he got lucky. He became who he is because he put in thousands of hours when no one was watching. That's the part most people skip. There's a certain peace that comes when you stop chasing validation and start chasing growth. Because when your focus shifts from how do I look to how do I perform, you stop competing with others. You start competing with yourself. That's how real success is built quietly, intentionally, and consistently. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone, your results speak for you, and the funny thing is, once you master skills, the status comes anyway. People respect mastery, they trust competence. But by the time that recognition arrives, you don't even crave it anymore because you've already found something deeper. Self-respect, you know you've earned your place, you don't need approval, you have proof. Iman Gadzhi taught me that chasing status is a trap. It keeps you chasing an illusion. But building skills gives you freedom, the kind that can't be taken away. Because when you have skills, you can build income, you can build businesses, you can build impact anywhere, anytime. Skills are portable, they travel with you for life. So now, when I think about success, I don't think about fame or followers or fancy things. I think about mastery. I think about the quiet hours spent learning, refining, and improving. I think about the discipline to get 1% better every single day. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't remember the loudest person in the room. It remembers the one who became undeniably good at what they do. And that's what Iman Gadzhi represents to me, a reminder that real success isn't about looking rich. It's about becoming capable. Status fades, skills stay, and if you build skills, you'll never have to chase success because success will find you. For the longest time, I believed freedom meant doing whatever I wanted, waking up when I felt like it, working when I felt inspired, taking breaks whenever I was tired. That's what the world teaches you, that freedom is about having no rules, no limits, no structure. But the truth is, that version of freedom is just a prettier form of slavery. You become a slave to your impulses, to your laziness, to your emotions. You think you're free, but you're actually trapped. That's what Iman Gadzhi helped me understand. Real freedom isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters and doing it on your own terms. Iman always says that freedom is not the absence of responsibility, but the ability to choose your responsibilities. And that hit me hard, because I realized that most people spend their entire lives avoiding responsibility. They run from hard work, from commitments, from accountability, thinking that if they avoid pressure, they'll finally be free. But what they don't see is that every time you dodge responsibility, you surrender power. You give someone else control over your life, your boss, your schedule, your circumstances. True freedom comes when you take full ownership of everything in your life, good or bad. That's when you become unstoppable, because no one can take your power away. When a man talks about freedom, he doesn't mean sitting on a beach doing nothing. That's not freedom, that's stagnation disguised as comfort. He means having the choice to work on what you love, to live life by design, not by default. He built his business not because he wanted to escape work, but because he wanted to own his time. And that's a completely different kind of motivation. He doesn't chase ease, he chases purpose. And that's what I learned from him. Freedom isn't about comfort, it's about control. Think about it. Most people hate Mondays, they live for weekends. They count down the hours until Friday night because their life is structured around someone else's dream. That's not freedom, that's imprisonment with a paycheck. You might think you're safe, but safety and freedom are not the same thing. The safe route costs you your potential, and that's the worst trade you can make. I used to believe that money was the key to freedom. If I could just make enough, I'd finally be free. But a man flipped that idea on its head. He showed me that money doesn't buy freedom, it only amplifies who you are. If you're disciplined and driven, money gives you leverage to build more, but if you're lazy and lost, money only deepens your chaos. Freedom doesn't come from the number in your bank account. It comes from mastering yourself, your habits, your emotions, your time. That's where real wealth is created. Freedom is having the discipline to do the hard thing when no one forces you to. That's what separates people who dream from people who live freely. Anyone can act when they're told what to do. But true freedom is when you act without needing anyone to tell you. You wake up early because you want to. You work hard because it's who you are. You follow through because you respect your word. That's freedom. The freedom to trust yourself. A man taught me that real freedom feels heavy. It comes with responsibility. Because when you're free, there's no one to blame but yourself. If you fail, it's on you. If you succeed, it's on you, and that level of accountability scares people. That's why most people avoid freedom, because freedom means facing the truth about who you really are. It forces you to look at your flaws, your weaknesses, your excuses. It strips away comfort, but that's where transformation begins. And the irony is, the people who seem the most disciplined are actually the most free. Because structure liberates you. When you have routines, you eliminate chaos. When you know your priorities, you stop wasting time. When you live with clarity, you stop living by default. Discipline gives you the time and mental space to focus on what truly matters. It's not a prison, it's the blueprint for a life you control. Iman embodies that. His entire life runs on structure, but that structure gives him power. Power to travel when he wants, work how he wants, live where he wants. That's real freedom. The world sells you fake freedom, scrolling for hours, consuming junk, living off short-term dopamine hits. They call it leisure, but it's addiction. It keeps you small. It keeps you dependent. Iman's message is the opposite. Cut the noise, focus on your mission, and earn your freedom. Because freedom has to be earned. You can't manifest it. You can't fake it. You build it one disciplined decision at a time. Freedom is also mental. It's about breaking free from comparison, from validation, from caring what others think. When you stop seeking approval, you start living authentically. You make decisions that align with your purpose, not your ego. And that's where peace lives. Iman always says, don't chase happiness, chase purpose. Because happiness is a feeling, and feelings change, but purpose is solid, it grounds you. Freedom is living in alignment with that purpose every single day. And maybe that's the biggest lesson I learned. Freedom isn't the goal, it's the reward. It's the outcome of mastering yourself. You can't wake up one day and decide to be free if you haven't earned the right to lead yourself. Every hour of discipline, every moment of sacrifice, every temptation resisted, that's a brick in the foundation of freedom. Most people will never experience that kind of freedom because they want shortcuts. They want the reward without the work, but life doesn't work that way. Freedom costs you everything: fake the laziness, the excuses, the comfort, the distractions. You have to give all of that up to become who you're meant to be. But once you do, once you earn it, no one can take it from you. That's real power. Iman Gadzhi, I didn't redefine freedom for me with fancy words, he did it by living it. By showing that freedom isn't a fantasy, it's a lifestyle built through discipline, purpose, and ownership. And now I see it clearly. Freedom isn't doing less, it's doing what's right. It's living a life so intentional that every action, every decision, every hour you spend reflects who you truly are. Because in the end, freedom isn't found in escape. It's found in mastery of yourself, your craft, and your purpose. That's the kind of freedom that can't be bought, can't be faked, and can't be taken. That's the kind of freedom, Iman Gadzhi, I lives by, and the kind I'm now building for myself.